What a year. What a year. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. This will be the final video for 2021. As the sun starts to set, I just got back from the office. I was finishing up some work there, and I wanted to come out here into the garden today to do what I like to do at the end of every year, which is to spend time in the garden. Now, this year is obviously going to be a tad bit different from years past in that we don't have any snow on the ground. We actually get to see the garden. But I've made a habit of doing this every single year to reflect on the past year and also look forward to the future. And what's really fun about this channel is that every single year we have documented our journey as a gardener, as a gardening channel, as a gardening community. And what's been so fun is to watch my progression, watch my development, and push myself into the next year with obviously optimism and all of you encouraging me, which is so helpful, but also to set kind of just make a timeline to not only show you all my progression, but also to show myself the progression. Because when I first started this channel, you all know I had terrible public speaking skills, just terrible. My public speaking skills were pitiful, and some would say they still are today, but definitely they have improved, and I'm really proud of that. My skills as a gardener have improved dramatically as well. When I first started, I really didn't know a whole lot about gardening. I mean, I knew how to garden, but I didn't really know the hows and the whys of gardening. I was pretty young and immature. I started this channel when I was just 16 years old. And so for some of you, you've watched me mature from age 16 to age 27. That is a long time to spend on a single platform. And I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. This is my home. I love it here. I love it on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Just different mediums provide different ways to convey information and inspiration. And it's just a joy to be able to spend time with you guys. So, for me, coming out here is so much about reflecting on what I'm grateful for, what I'm excited for the next year, and just reflecting on the good memories that we had. One really exciting thing that happened in 2021 is that we broke the 900,000 subscriber mark. In fact, we're only about 30,000 away from 1 million. That's our goal for, it's a very simple goal because I think we're gonna make it, but that's our goal for 2022 is hitting that 1 million mark. But once we passed that 900,000 subscriber threshold, it really just opened my eyes to how incredible this community has gotten, how huge it has gotten, and the impact. Because, there's a lot of cities in Michigan. And what I like to do is kind of look at the population of those cities and be like, okay, so Port Huron, where we're located, is a town of about 15,000 people. And so if I multiplied that by like 1,000 of our little towns, that's incredible. It just makes you feel so humbled because it's like, that is a huge, huge number. And so I thank you guys so much for your support to make that number so big. I've never really cared about how many subscribers we do have, but what I will say is that every subscriber we do get is, an additional gardener that we're adding to this community, and I love that. So thank you guys so much for that amazing highlight. Another amazing memory for 2021 was when we bought our very own building. For the longest time, MIgardener has either been like a home-based business, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just limiting on the size that it can grow to, in an apartment room or in the basement of our home. And then from there, we expanded to a small little building that we rented for the past 3 years. In 2018, we got that, and it was just limiting on size, as well as the fact that because we were renting, it's kind of like wanting a garden, but your landlord won't let you put in a garden. We wanted to do a lot of things in that building that would give us the ability to express ourselves in a way that we really wanted to reach the community. But unfortunately, the landlords were not okay with those things or some of those things. And so it didn't really give us the freedom. And so we had our eyes on a larger building for quite a while. 2 towns south of here, there was a building that had been owned in the same family for a long time. And we knew that eventually they'd be retiring. And when they did retire, the building went up for sale. And it was to our surprise that the building was not only went up for sale, but was also in our budget. So it was almost like the stars aligned in the universe. And because of all your amazing support for our seed store and our fertilizer line and just everything that we do for the gardening community, you guys have just loved on us. And we're so grateful for that. But you guys, because of your support, allowed us to have this budget to purchase this building that is now ours. And we're gonna be able to do whatever we want with it. And it's just gonna be such an amazing thing. And that's an amazing milestone. And so I'm incredibly humbled, but I'm also so excited for what that's gonna bring us and for the gardening community. So that was an awesome memory that I had. And again, we're gonna keep updating you guys on everything that's happening there because there's a lot of exciting things happening. Another small but really fun memory for 2021 was when a viewer of the show came into our seed shop and gave us some Egyptian walking onions. Now, for the longest time, we've always wanted to grow them, but you need to know somebody that has them first. And because you don't really have seeds, they're grown from these little bulbules that come off from the flower stem and then set down roots, and then they kind of just walk along your garden. And so we uploaded a video called The Friendship Bread of Gardening. And in that video, we talked about the Egyptian walking onions. And I'm so excited to have them because it was something that I wanted forever. And for as long as I've been gardening, I've never gotten my hands on them until, like I said, an amazing viewer of the show dropped some by. And it was a really fun memory for us because it got to add something that I've wanted to grow for so long into our garden finally. All right, we're gonna take a quick tour over here to the orchard because the orchard had an amazing memory for 2021. Now in 2021, we had a really late frost. I didn't think we were gonna get anything from our orchard because the frost was so cold and it was actually froze and it was so late that all the buds had already opened. And we kind of just said, okay, you know what? You can't control Mother Nature. It's gonna happen. And this is a natural course of being a gardener, is that sometimes you have some disappointments and setbacks. But what we were amazed by, for some crazy unknown reason, the trees actually survived. And not only did they survive, but the flowers also survived and then started to give fruit. We had an abundance of peaches on these trees this year, and we had no expectation of getting even a single fruit. It was just so cool. It's such a great memory because it serves as a constant reminder for me that even when you as a gardener think that all hope is lost, sometimes nature has a different plan in mind. All right, one of the final memories from 2021 that I was so excited about was our honeybees. So you guys know that we had honeybees for a long time, but because of moves or unfortunate weather events, we've lost a lot of our honeybees. And we had this box just sitting out here. It was empty, it had no bees in it, but it did have the old frames. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, Randy from the 628 Dirt Rooster channel, and he was saying, just if you have some boxes, just set them out, leave them setting out, because oftentimes, a feral swarm or one that, just splits away from its colony will, or splits away from its hive, will move into your box if there's, frames and propolis and beeswax and things like that inside of the box. Oftentimes you'll just get lucky and catch one. And so I took his advice and I just had this sitting out here. And Mrs. MIgardener and I went on a vacation. We went up north for 3 or 4 days. And when I got back, I was mowing the lawn, and lo and behold, there's hundreds of bees coming and going from our box. And I thought, well, that seems a little crazy. I don't think those were there when we left. So I threw on my bee suit, opened up the box, and to my amazement, it was packed with honeybees. We had caught a feral swarm, and that was awesome. So one amazing thing that I'm really looking forward to in 2022 is obviously growing the channel. One thing that I look forward to doing is just getting back to being a little more creative. I've spent a lot of time at the office and on construction sites, and there's been a lot of things kind of pulling me away from the creative side of YouTube. Now, we've stayed consistent with doing videos, but they haven't always been as creative as they used to be. And so I really want to get back to just being a little more creative, bringing back kind of my artistic side of things, my creative side of things, and melding not only gardening, but with kind of a more visually appealing look. And so I'm really excited for that. I know a lot of you are going to appreciate that. Another thing that I'm really excited for the next year is growing even more new things. I'm looking forward to adding 3 or 4 new plants to my garden that I've never grown before. Again, just re-challenging myself and always pushing myself to grow big or go home, because that's the real meaning of this, of that motto. A lot of people think that grow big or go home is like a challenge to others. It's not a challenge to others. Gardening is not a competition. It's a challenge for yourself. it's a challenge for yourself to see where you can develop, to see what you can learn, see, you know, if you can press the boundaries of what you think is possible and really prove to yourself what can be possible. Another thing that I'm really excited for the next year, as I harvest some of these absolutely gorgeous rutabagas, is growing even more high intensity. I've actually kind of, because of our schedule, this year was a little bit weird. There was a lot of short staffing, a lot of you know that. There was a lot of product shortages, a lot of you know that. And so because of that, I really just grew a garden that was very, it was very stable. It didn't require a whole lot of turnover. It was like a lot of tomatoes, a lot of peppers, a lot of things I could just plant once because I didn't really know what my schedule would look like from week to week. And so I didn't really grow things that required a ton of, you know, a ton of maintenance and changeover and replanting and successions and stuff like that. So next year, I look forward to kind of stabilizing and really growing things that, that allow me to showcase high intensity gardening. All right, talking about multitasking, I guess that's one way to get work done, is to just pull up some stuff while you're filming a video. So it's a good job done. That way it's not sitting there till spring. All right, and on the topic of pulling things out, one thing that I really like to do for next year is just compost a little bit more. This year we generated about 2 yards of compost. And so a simple goal for me that I want to set for myself, just to see if it's possible, is I'm going to aim for 4 yards of compost. That's double what we did this year. All right, so the video is coming to an end. We're losing sunlight and I've got to go get this video uploaded before it's the next year. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. Before we end, I wanted to end with the word of the year that I'm aiming for. And this is something personal for everybody. And I kind of just share this because I like putting it out there. But you know, for me, it's just a way for me to reflect. I watch all my past years to really see what my word is, to see if my heart was in the right place that year, if my mind was in the right place that year, and if I really made that word come true to the fullest extent. And so this year, my word is going to be reclamation. I would just like to do things, I would like to reclaim more things. I'd like to reclaim my health. I'd like to reclaim my household. I'd like to reclaim my garden. I'd like to reclaim my sanity. There's been a lot of times where things have been out of my control and I kind of just feel like I'm dangling from a string, whether it's supply chain shortages, whether it's rising prices, economic uncertainties. There's been a lot of things that have just kind of kept me just always just kind of swinging around. And what I want to do is I want to just kind of be able to mute that out and say, you know what, this year I'm reclaiming everything that I feel is out of order, out of line, and making sure that I'm reclaiming that so that I not only, there can be things that are going wrong and are out of my control, but as long as I've reclaimed what I feel needs to be reclaimed, that's okay with me. So this is a word that I picked. It's personal to me. It won't mean the same thing to everybody else, but it's just something that I do every single year. And it's something that I look forward to. So I'm optimistic, I'm excited, and I hope you guys are as well. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed, hopefully learned something new. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. And we'll see you all in 2022.